Having a business is the biggest initiation of your life. I don't have any kids yet, but I can imagine it's a very similar feeling to having a child. Going through all the emotions, the mindset shifts, and all the things that happen when you start a business. It doesn't have to mean that you stop, and it doesn't have to mean that you're doing things wrong. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. When you're listening to this, it has been a couple days since we got back from our honeymoon, and obviously it was amazing. We had the best time ever, and now we are back in business full swing. We actually have a big Black Friday sale happening that's coming up with 50% off my courses and my bundles and a couple of exclusive coaching deals. So keep your eyes peeled for that. You're actually going to be able to opt in because they will only be available via email. So keep your eye out for that because Black Friday is coming up at the end of this month, and there are some insane fucking deals for your coach Jill, okay? And for working together in 2025, which that just sounds insane. That sounds insane. So anyways, if you are an avid listener of this podcast, if you are making less than 5K a month, if you're struggling with imposter syndrome and it's really affecting your ability to be consistent in your business, like it's affecting the content you're creating, it's affecting how you're showing up when you show up to stories, if you do at all, is it stopping you from making the money in your business that you know is meant for you? And you just know that there's a bunch of untapped potential inside of you. And if you just had the confidence and the belief in yourself, you'd be able to make the money you want and build the business you truly desire. Then what the fuck are you waiting for? Okay, you need to come and work with me inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program, which is my high-level group coaching experience that focuses on mindset, emotional mastery, and aligned strategies so you can overcome imposter syndrome and make 5K months your bare minimum in business. One of my clients inside this program joined because she just really wanted to learn how to be confident on camera and to have that translate into sales. She could feel how uncomfortable she was anytime she thought about doing reels or face-to-cam stories, and she didn't even want to think about selling her offers. Like, the first step was to being confident showing her face and selling online. And she also needed clarity on exactly what she was selling and how to sell it. And all of this culminated in her not feeling confident in herself and what she did, which affected the money that she's trying to make. So within a month of being inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program, she signed a one-to-one client. She was uploading reels every single week and selling her offers with confidence. With the mindset, emotional mastery, and strategy inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program, she was able to not only overcome that feeling of being a fraud and the fear of being visible, but she also got really clear on who she helped, how she helped them, and what made her different. She was able to articulate that in her content, which called in her perfect ideal client for her brand new one-to-one coaching program. It's not the fact that you're not good enough, okay? It's not the fact that you aren't good at what you do. It's just that you aren't articulating it clearly enough and you aren't showing up as confidently as you could be when it comes to showing up online. And this is exactly what we're going to be working on inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program. In this program, you're going to learn how to show up consistently without giving up or burning out. You're going to learn how to sell your offers with confidence on camera and in your content. You're going to sign clients into your offers and make 5K months, the bare minimum of each month, and what you can accomplish. And you're going to do all of that through the mindset work, the emotional mastery work, and the strategy work inside of the program. Okay, so the link to the beautiful sales page that answers all the questions you could possibly have is in my show notes, and you can join directly there. If you're unsure if this is the best fit for you, or if you have any fears or hesitations, slide into my DMs at your coach Jill and we can chat it out. I'm here for you, and I want to ensure that this is a good choice for you, because when you join, you have the option to join for 6 or 12 months, and you are committing to being in the container and really giving it your all for that time. Okay, we don't do the people that like dip in and dip out. Okay, you are committing to those 6 or 12 months, so you really need to make sure that it is the best fit for you and that I am the best coach for you. Okay, so that is that. Let's get into today's episode. Today's episode was actually inspired by a thread that I made about the soft girl era. So if you're in the online space, then you know that there is a very big phenomenon known as the soft girl era, and it actually stems from hustling during COVID, right? We had a big boom in the coaching industry in 2020 because everyone was able to stay home. They were able to work on their businesses. There was a lot of investing happening, and there were also a lot of people who had no business starting a business, but they did. And those people aren't around now, but the ones who are really saw it through. And what happened though from that era was a lot of hustling, a lot of doing things to make quick money, to make things happen. Again, a lot of investing in people maybe you shouldn't have trusted. And I think a lot of people, including me, burnt out. And I actually think it was more so my like ADHD/autistic burnout in 2021 and 2022, but essentially it birthed this group of people who swung way to the other side of the spectrum, right? Like they went from working to embracing this soft girl era where everything had to feel fucking good, right? And if you were working too hard, oh my God, that's not how it's supposed to be. Everything was supposed to feel comfortable and cozy and laid back, with business being easy and slow. Now, I can admit that this is definitely not the way that I do things. I'm an Aries, so I'm actually a double fire sign Aries. So I'm an Aries sun and a Sagittarius rising. Do what you will with that. And I'm also a generator in human design. So when I get really excited about something and I'm lit up by it, it's really hard to slow me down. I can also hyper focus like a motherfucker, right? I respond to the things that are happening in my life. I love taking action. I love working hard. I truly believe that when you're working hard in the right direction and when things feel aligned, you don't have to burn out. You don't experience burnout. And I have not. I have worked harder than I ever have in the business within the last 2 years. And like, I have not burnt out at all. You don't have to feel exhausted and you don't have to feel like you're hustling. And the thing is though, in my personal life, I enjoy things being slower. I love getting up in the morning, going to my yoga class, grabbing a coffee, coming home to sit on the couch, eat breakfast, watch a show, currently watching Love is Blind at the time that I'm recording this. But by the time you're listening to this, the reunion has already happened a week prior. So let's hope it's fucking good. Right? So I come home and I sit on the couch, I eat, and then I hop on Instagram stories. I do any work I need to do. I coach my clients first and foremost, hang out with my friends. We do some pickleballing. I hang out with my husband. I love watching a lot of TV. I read a lot of books. My personal life is spacious. It is spacious. It is slow, and that's how I like it. And that's exactly what I'm aiming for too in the business, right? Like I don't have a ton of coaching calls on my calendar, and I created a spacious business that supports this spacious lifestyle, right? And that's ultimately what I want for my clients too. Like it's about helping them build the business that they want. I actually have a client in the Real Deal Mastermind who travels like 90% of the time. She's always heading off to a new location, working while on vacation, exploring new cities, and that is her version of a spacious life, right? I have clients who have kids, and their most important thing is having the time and the spaciousness to spend with their kids. And when they're not spending time with them, they're working on their business, and that's their purpose, their reason for doing what they do. However you want to build your business is perfect. And if you want a spacious personal life that your business supports, you get to have that. But the problem I have with the soft girl era is that people come into the business space and expect this to happen right away. Do you think that I just walked into the online space and I was able to make 5-figure months off the bat with 0 calls? Of course not. Of fucking course not, right? Some people come into the space and they're like, I don't want to do one-to-one coaching. I don't want to have calls. I don't want to do this or that. And I have such an attitude when clients come to me about this shit, because if they are not making a certain amount of income, sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles to get your income up, right? And you need to have the foundations of a profitable business. And the reality is, if you are not making enough money, if you're not making between 5K to 10K a month at least, you haven't had enough experience coaching people. And the reason why this podcast episode is called, Is It Out of Alignment or Are You Just at Your Growth Edge? Is because you need to give yourself time to understand what truly feels out of alignment, right? I had to learn that I was really comfortable having 2 to 4 one-to-one clients at a time and more people in my mastermind and my group program. But I didn't realize that that was what I actually felt good about until I had a big roster of one-to-one clients in a smaller group, right? And that's when I start to think about, how would I feel if this was reversed and I had a bigger group program with less calls and I had less one-to-one clients? What would that look like for my selling? How would I have to change things in the business, etc.? Because the thing about being in business is that everything is trial and error. You're always figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. There's nothing wrong with things not being perfect in whatever season you're in when it comes to your business. You're always perfecting things, pruning things, making them better, and this doesn't have to be a problem. It doesn't mean you're hustling or that things are hard. Stop fucking saying that things are hard, okay? It just means that you're figuring out what works for you. What's actually in alignment for you is only going to be revealed when you're doing something so massively out of alignment that you notice. But what happens is I'll hear people say, I don't want one-to-one clients even though they've never had one, or they have one, right? And it's probably not a good fit. Or they'll say, I only want to sell courses. I want the soft girl era kind of life, without realizing that the work that goes into selling courses is not passive. Like, it's not passive at all. There is still a lot of showing up required. You have to be really good at teaching and delivering results for your students, etc., right? And people get so frustrated when they're like, oh, there's work that goes into a business. Yes, there is. But again, when it's in the right direction, it doesn't feel like you're burning out. And when you are aligned emotionally and strategically, you can keep going and you can do the hard shit without spinning the fuck out. You don't know what's truly out of alignment until you've experienced both sides. What genuinely feels good to you versus what feels uncomfortable only because you're at your growth edge. Things like going live, talking to the camera, selling your offer with confidence, owning your results, sharing your client results over and over and over again. There are so many micro moments that add up to you getting to your next level. And a lot of the time, things don't feel good. A lot of the times you feel uncomfortable, right? There have been multiple experiences with clients where I had to learn how to coach them in a more elevated and direct way. And that wasn't always easy for me because I'm a people pleaser, right? I have been, but now I can respond to their questions directly and honestly. And before, that used to send me into a shame spiral, feeling uncomfortable and afraid of their reaction. But I didn't see it as a problem. I didn't think I need to stop coaching them this way. I'm not doing a good job. I just knew it wasn't comfortable because I was being more direct and honest with them, and it felt new. I have a one-to-one client who runs these roundtable discussions where people come, they ask questions, and it leads to her one-to-one coaching program. We talked about how the adrenaline is so high during these roundtables and then it drops afterwards, but that doesn't mean that she should stop doing them. It doesn't mean that she's doing anything wrong. It just means that whenever you do something big, like going live, hosting a workshop, talking to a large group, giving a talk, even talking to the camera, right? It's normal to hit a high and then a low afterwards. That's normal, that's natural, but it doesn't mean that you stop. It doesn't mean that it's something that you shouldn't be doing. You're just uncomfortable. And I think this comes with experience. Again, it comes with experience in different areas. As you are within the first couple of years of your business, you need to be okay with things largely being uncomfortable because you've never done them before. Things are not always going to feel perfect the majority of the time because you're doing so many things for the first time. You are learning so much information about sales, marketing, showing up, and about yourself. Having a business is the biggest initiation of your life. I don't have any kids yet, but I can imagine it's a very similar feeling to having a child, going through all the emotions, the mindset shifts, and all the things that happen when you start a business. It doesn't have to mean that you stop, and it doesn't have to mean that you're doing things wrong. A lot of the time, you're just at your growth edge. And in order to know that, you have to learn your own cues and learn what is out of alignment versus what is simply just you, again, being at that growth edge. For me, I know that if I'm actively avoiding something, I just have to ask myself a couple of questions and zero in on what it is that I'm working towards. Like 99% of the time, I'm avoiding something because I'm afraid or nervous, and I don't want to feel the emotion that will potentially come from doing that thing. But when I go back to my purpose and the reason why I was thinking of doing it in the first place, I almost always end up doing it, even if I'm uncomfortable. I know myself enough to know that it's very easy for me to not do something and convince myself not to do it because of how I'm feeling, and to be like, oh no, this isn't for me, when I know that that's just me playing fucking small. I'm very used to toning myself down, watering myself down, playing small, and I have to actively say to myself, nope, remember when you do this thing, it's going to lead to this, and these are the tools you have. And then I snap back into who I am becoming. And this is coming from someone who has almost been in the game for 7 years at this point. I've been doing this for a long time, and there are still so many things that I have to actively be like, this is just me hitting the edge of my comfort zone. This is just me not wanting to do this. I'm just uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it anyways. And that is the point of growing a business and making more money, onboarding more clients, just doing things that you've never ever done before. That is what it means to own a business. Again, when you can clarify the difference between this feels wrong, like deeply wrong and not aligned with my values or who I want to be, versus this is going to be uncomfortable until I get comfortable with it, but it is aligned with who I want to be and where I want the business to go, you will be unstoppable. What happens is people take an uncomfortable situation or a tiring emotion or a day where they just don't want to do the thing, and they make it mean, oh, this isn't in alignment. This is not something I want to be doing. But people are too fucking soft. Like, they want this whole soft girl era when it really just means that they don't want to do the work. This doesn't mean that you can't have the business that you want. When I look at my November hours for how often I'm going to be on calls, I think it's like 3 hours in the entire month. Making 5 figures a month while only being on calls for 3 hours out of the month. Like, that is fucking incredible. And I have a roster full of clients. So I'm not saying that you have to be so miserable inside of your business. You absolutely don't have to be. But having the business structure that I have now is a result of me really figuring out over the last couple of years what is out of alignment and what is just me being at my growth edge, and me learning that I have to go through this thing in order to get to the other side. Right? And the reward is experience. The reward is knowing how I react to things, right? I wouldn't have known that I truly don't enjoy having a big roster of one-to-one clients. Some people do, and some people fucking love it. But I had to figure out that this was not the way that I wanted things to look for me, but I had to be okay at the time with things being uncomfortable or clunky or not being the exact perfect way that my business is gonna look when I'm making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month, right? So respectfully, when people talk about listening to your body cues and figuring out what's in alignment, it's not that you're out of alignment, it's probably that you're just a little bit uncomfortable. So how you can rectify this and go in the right direction is by being so clear on the direction you're going, being honest with yourself about whether the thing you're doing is gonna lead to the result that you ultimately want. For example, for the people who just want to sell courses, if that's going to be in your future, I always love using the example of someone like Amanda Francis. She largely makes a lot of her coaching revenue from courses, but she coached for over 10 years. She learned how to get her clients results. She worked with them closely and had conversations with them. Even though I'm sure she loves the fact that she doesn't have to do that all the time now, she put in the work to have that business structure and the lifestyle. The soft girl era or the soft girl lifestyle is possible when you've built the necessary foundations. So if you're feeling uncomfortable in your business, if there are tasks that you're doing that feel difficult or make you hit up against imposter syndrome or self-doubt, if things feel clunky or messy, how can you be okay with the fact that this is probably just you at your growth edge? Doing all of these things, taking action and putting things into place are leading to the big result that you're aiming for. It is leading to a business you're excited about and want to carry you through for the rest of your career. I think about the fact that there are tons of circumstances where I don't necessarily want to be doing like this kind of content or putting together a sales page or clarifying my copy. Like, of course not. I'd rather fucking be watching Nobody Wants This or The Secret Lives of Morin Wives or Outer Banks, or reading some hockey smut. And the thing is, I know, though, that me doing the uncomfortable thing is going to get me to a place where I can have that freedom. I can and do spend a Tuesday afternoon watching TV because I've already built a foundation that allows me to do that without guilt. And that also comes with a lot of emotional resilience as well. So what if the things you're doing aren't out of alignment? What if you need to toughen up a little bit and realize that your growth edge is just always going to be there? You are always going to be at your growth edge when you're running a business. And if you're not, you're too comfortable and not going to your next level. But that's exactly why you're here. You love challenging yourself to be the best version of yourself. You love challenging yourself to grow, make more money, and be this extraordinary version of yourself because that's what you fucking came here to do. You also came here to change the lives of your clients, and you need to learn how to lead from the front. You need to do the things that you want your clients to do, and you need to do them first. So yes, be in touch with your body. Be in touch with the cues you get from your intuition, from your gut. But remember that you're an entrepreneur, and running a business is largely about doing things that are uncomfortable and don't always feel right. But if they are aligned with your bottom line, then you should do it. If they are aligned to your values, then you should do it. If they are aligned to who you're becoming, then that really is just you hitting up against your growth edge, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You will be better for it, and your business will be better for it too when you learn the difference between these two. Okay, so go do something hard today. You'll feel so good about yourself afterwards. And come join us inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program so you can build your business to those 5K months you crave and build the business you're actually capable of, not the business that imposter syndrome tells you you're capable of, because there's so much money to be made when you stand in your power. The link is in my show notes to join directly or send me a DM at your coach Jill and we can chat about it, okay? I love you guys so much and I'll see you next week. Hey babe, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Screenshot it and put it on your stories and tag me at your coach Jill. And if you really love me, you'll rate and review the podcast. And if you screenshot it before you submit the review and send it to me, I will send you a free gift on me. If you want to take this work deeper, come and work with me in the From Imposter to Empowered program or the Real Deal Mastermind. And finally, if you want just a snippet of my work to feel what it's like to be in my world, then you need to buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and you can get that on Amazon. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.